What's going on? This is Chris, the Dating Doc, and I do this little segment where I go on Instagram and I ask my followers, fans, for any questions they may have, and it's a great way for them to get a preview of how I do date coaching. A lot of this advice, it's on the fly. It's from experience of me dealing with clients, from hosting over 500 events in 12 cities, doing matchmaking. So without further ado, stay tuned. Get some answers to the questions that were asked, and you might learn something. So the first question on my Instagram Q&A is the keys to long-term success in a relationship, ? By the way, in a 4-year relationship, and it is still amazing. That was submitted by Amir.D.Vucic. And okay, so here's the thing. I'm always about alliterations. And I think the 3 biggest things is creativity, communication, and care. Okay, let's start off with the creativity part. Our brain is built by neurotransmitters: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, the hormone cortisol, and what it does. All these things are in effect when it comes to dating and relationships. So the first one is creative. Why creative? You got to keep things creative and spicy. And I don't mean just a bedroom. What does that mean? That means you still got to feel like you're dating each other. You still got to feel like, you know what? Let's go out and grab dinner and pretend we don't know each other and just get to know each other again. Having that empty cup type of mindset. Or let's go on a vacation. Or you know what? Let's play truth or dare. Got to be creative, okay? It literally keeps the neurotransmitters going. What ends up happening in some relationships is that those neurotransmitters no longer fire off. So you're kind of bored and you're stuck in a pattern. So the second part of that, communication. Enough said. You have to be able to express yourself, and you have to be able to allow someone to express themselves. Verbal, nonverbal communication, conflict resolution skills. Communication is something that you don't even have to say a word. You just have to be around each other. You can be sitting up, reading a book, and just feeling that energy. That's communication. Versus reading a book in another room, you're not really communicating, you're not vibing, as they say. Sending a little funny text or meme during the day, that's communication. Okay, engaging your partner, communicating with them. We all go through flows in life. So as we change as a person, it's best that we communicate that so we're on the same page. And the last one, care. Care. That's the difference between just a buddy and someone that you love or that you're dating or married to. You have to care. You have to show that warmth. You have to show that you look out for their best interest. They're having a bad day. You realize that. You take advantage of that opportunity and you show that you care, that you love. Okay? You don't even have to be at the point of saying that you love them to care for them. And a caring person goes a long way. Okay? It takes a lot more cojones to care than to not care. We are at a stage in life where a lot of us go through the path of least resistance. You got to care. All right. Next one. Second question is by John_Thibs. What's some good methods to not overanalyze or romanticize when first meeting people? This is what I call, and many in my circle call, one-itis. It means you automatically fall in love and go crazy for someone that remotely shows you interest. First off, how special would that person feel if all of a sudden, from the get-go, you're crazy about them? 2 things that a message is, okay? First message is, really, is he or she that special where you just head over heels after one date or one conversation on the phone? And second, what's wrong with you? All right, you have to have a little bit of backbone. We need to quit getting in the mindset, especially men, to put women on a pedestal right away. Because guess what? We live in an age, unfortunately, where people lose interest quickly. And the last thing you want to do is lose that person because you showed so much interest that there's no challenge. So, what are some good methods to not overanalyze? Be yourself and stay busy. Stay busy, stay productive. Get into your hobbies, whether that's painting, working out, watching your favorite Netflix series. Do all these things without having to overanalyze, to worship that person. Stay busy, stay grounded, be yourself. Okay, and part of being yourself is not just around that person, it's purely being yourself. If you're gonna claim you're independent, be independent. The time will come naturally where both of you are attracted to each other, and that will come. But when you overanalyze or when you romanticize, it gives off a certain vibe and energy. And if you're doing that all the time, there actually, therapeutically, there are groups that support what are called love addicts. You might be a love addict. So quit being emotionally dependent. The only person you got to be emotionally dependent at this moment is the person in the mirror. Next question from one of my favorite followers, fans, whatever you call it on Instagram, Naha Nasi. What are the characteristics to know when you're ready to date? That's a great question, because it all boils down to when you are ready to date. Here's the thing. Let's paint this picture real quick. Let's pretend you're an athlete. You are injured. This is a metaphor for when you're injured because of a past relationship, because of past pains, because of hesitations when it comes to dating again. Let's pretend again. Athlete is injured. They want to get back into the game, but they are injured. What do they have to go through first? A couple things. First, they have to heal from whatever injury. Whether it's a broken bone, dislocated kneecap, a MCL, ACL tear, they have to heal from that. They rehab it, they mentally get back in the game, and they start slowly and get back into it. But guess what? They don't completely take a break. That's the difference. An athlete goes out there and gets themselves better. So what are the characteristics to know when you're ready to date? You have to have enough resiliency where you're not going to injure yourself quickly. You have to be able to get in the game and make some points. What does that mean? That means that you yourself have to be ready to offer something. I run into a lot of clients that say, I'm just kind of dipping my toes back into it. I really don't know what I'm doing. You're not going to stick with anyone because you haven't completely at least healed to get back in the game. I'm not saying you have to completely heal. Just like an athlete, you're still going to have some nagging injuries, but you're back in the game. But you're not going to totally run with a broken leg. But you've healed it enough to where you have enough space to perform. It's the same thing with dating. When you're at the point mentally, when you're no longer thinking, I really don't want to do this anymore, but I guess I'll go out there. When now you're thinking more along the lines of, I'm ready to be funny, I'm ready to laugh, I'm ready to be flirty, that's when you know you're back in the game. So think of that symbolism. Think of the traits that make you special and go out there and play the game. Next question is from Nelia.m.l.209. Ask, haven't dated in a long time, been in crappy relationships, how to learn to trust again. Here's the thing. Keep in mind that your loyalty should not be taken advantage of from you. Do not take advantage of your own loyalty. Respect your own boundaries. But at the same time, be open to show your love, to show the positivity, the strengths that you give, that you offer when it comes to dating. But I'm gonna tell you straight up, when I hear haven't dated in a long time, been in crappy relationships, two sides to every story. So the first thing you gotta realize, quit victim blaming. You're a strong person, you can persevere. A lot of us are persevering during these times, staying positive, staying focused. So accept, don't avoid, accept what happened, move from it. And for you to learn to trust again, there's two sides to every story. Quit victim blaming. You are not entitled to only having men prove that they can be trusted. You yourself have to show that you can be trusted, and you have to trust your own boundaries. You cannot come back to me and say that you've been in crappy relationships, because that means you yourself accepted that standard. But keep in mind, and this is tough love. Why do I say all this? Because there's two sides to every story. You have to be able to provide for that relationship. If you always have your guard up, if you just would not trust men again, how are they going to be attracted to you? I don't mean physically. I mean the mental, the personality piece of it. They're not going to trust that you're going to stick around, because they may think that the second that they show their vulnerable side or that they mess up, you're going to skate out, because it might remind you of your ex, because there's some wounds you haven't taken care of. Learn to trust yourself again. Okay? It's not about men, or in this case, if you're a man going through the same thing, it's not about women having to prove different. Start with the person in the mirror. As I always say, learn to trust yourself again. When you're comfortable with yourself, you realize that pain is going to happen when it comes to this thing called life. You can accept that, not avoid it, accept it. Then you can move on with the pain from the past.